Basketball Talk Pro. Well, today, before I get started on the segment, I'd just like to mention something. I've talked about this before. Some things came up in my life that I just couldn't do it the way I wanted to, and that is a class, a statistical class that we're changing. We've done one before. You can get it on Udemy. But that was just videos. This will be live. This will be just like a classroom, only it's on, on the internet. And most of you can do it on your mobiles. I don't like for you to do that, but your computers and stuff are made now so that you can get on to a meeting that we have. So it's going to be different in that we're going to talk to you as a class, and you have the opportunity to talk to me back, ask questions, and that sort of thing. So we'll do, it'll be eight classes. The entire program is 8 classes. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to have 2 days of each weekend that you can choose from. One of them will be Saturday morning, and the other one will be Monday night. And you'll get more details. I'm just doing this quickly, so you're prepared for it. I think about by Friday you'll get all the details. It serves a purpose that sometimes you can't take the class because it's on Saturday morning. Sometimes you can't do it on Monday night. Whatever we choose. This way you can choose one, the one that fits your schedule. Now, if something comes up and you can't say you've got a Monday night class, normally that's where we would consider you to be, you can then, and if something comes up and you know you can't make that Monday class, then you can switch over and do the Saturday class because it'll be the same classes. I think that'll give you more flexibility. It's a little harder from our end because the classes will be smaller and we have to repeat them. But I think it works better for you guys. There'll be 8 classes, 8 hours going through the statistical thing. The very first one is on a Saturday, 9/23, September 23, and the second class will be then Monday night on September 25th, and we'll follow that, and you will get an outline of all the classes that are coming up. This is something we do have to pay. We have to charge for it because there's expense involved, and so we're going to charge $100. To me, that's just ludicrous. 8 classes for $100. And this is stuff you really you need. But we also will have a pay plan. If you can't come up with it at one, we can spread it out over 3 pays to make it easier for you. All of this will take place, but and we'll feed you information as we need to on it. But I just want to mention one thing about it. This is a practical course. I'm not going to give you a lot of scientific things that you want to do. We don't talk about logarithms in this class. We talk about multiplying and dividing and subtracting because that's what a coach needs. Everything I'm going to give you is something you need. There's no frills. There's no waste. Everything we will talk to you about and teach you and show you, it'll make you a better basketball coach. It'll make your team a better team. I can assure you of that. Well, today we're going to talk about something that's really difficult for anybody to talk about. And it's difficult for me. And that is playing as a team. I think that has gotten to be a little bit where is kind of forgotten to think in terms of that. But the best teams play as a team, regardless of what kind of players they got. And you can win games. You know that. You should know that. You can win games if you're playing as a team and they're not. But it just doesn't happen. You just can't say to your team, we want to play as a team, and they're going to play as a team. They're not going to do that because, and this is what I'm going to start with, you have to remember that every player on your team, including you, is thinking about themselves. It's human nature. I don't know how we could get away from it. We're hardwired to think of what's best for us, not what's best for him, or not what's best for the team. Well, how am I going to benefit from this? That's the first thing you face. And I'm just giving you a few things here before we get started. That is one of them. Don't ever forget it. That they are looking at everything you tell them as it affects them. You've got to accept that. And what I'm going to talk about today is just thoughts for you. This is kind of a personal thing, I think, is coaching to play as a team. Because we all have different personalities. We have different ways of saying the same thing. But I think the 5 things I'm going to suggest to you are 5 good thoughts that you need to think about and may help you. The only reason we do Basketball Talk Pro is to help you. So these are 5 things that I've witnessed, worked with myself, it's stuff that is real. And there's not many really good team coaches, in my opinion. I can name a few. In the NBA, there's very few coaches that can get guys to play as a team. But Jerry Sloan could. Phil Jackson could. Popovich can. The guy at Boston, I think he's got a chance. College coaches do better at it, but when I looked at the finals, which I thought was really a good finals, I enjoyed them, in the NCAA, I saw 2 teams in the Final Four that were not as good as teams that started out in the Final 8, but they played as a team. And I think because you don't have the money involved, when you're playing for millions of dollars, it's pretty easy to be highly selfish, not just a little selfish. But college still has a little bigger problem with that than, say, a high school coach does. The problems change, they're not all the same. So I'm just going to give you 5 things that I've seen and talked to and done myself. The very first thing I think you have to do is look at yourself. Are you a team-oriented coach? Do you plan as a team-oriented coach? Do you do things as a team-oriented coach? Very few of you do, truthfully. You like to talk about it, but you don't do the work that would get you there. So you have to change. You have to be more involved in making this a team rather than how it's going to make you look. You're going to make me look bad or make me look good. But we know, I think all of us are aware that playing as a team is a lot better for you, not only in wins and losses, but as people, learning how to do that. you have to change your attitude about a lot of things. If you want a good team play, it's got to be the first and foremost thing in your approach to the team. If you talk to, and I have, you talk to Jerry Sloan, he's going to tell you within 10 minutes how strongly he feels about team play. Phil Jackson absolutely lives for it. I mean, he is so attuned to team play because he's played for some coaches that expected it and wanted it and got it. Understands the importance of it. So you have to be that kind of a coach. You know, you can use your own personality, but you got to have it inside you. This is what I want, and I'm going to have it. Then, if you have that feeling, it should reflect in the system you run. I mean, I hear guys talk about, we got to get team play, we got to do this, we got to play as a team. And then their offense is two-man plays, pick and rolls, post-ups, and isolations. You've taken everything away from those players. You have to give them team things. You got to run an offense that all 5 players play. And you have to have a defense the same way. So, your system is going to make them better team players or destroy them as team players. I think the pick and roll does that. I think just running post-ups does that. Or the other varieties of two-man plays. You have to design your system so that it engenders team play. It doesn't take away from it. Think about that. If you say to number 1, I'm going to be a team coach, your second step is then run an offense and defense that the players got a chance to do that. You'd be surprised how much you can change a selfish player. If he knows he has the opportunity within the offense or the defense to do his thing too. The third thing I think that's important. I think both of those two things are very important. That's why I put them first and second. It should be a team in all ways, not just saying it, but in everything you do, in your practices, in your approaches. Everything is approached for your opponent as a team, doing the team things that you need. Not, we got to stop so-and-so, No, you don't. You got to stop their team. Let him have 40. But you do the things that it takes to do it as a team. Treat all your players that they're a part of the team. The 9th, 10th, 11th guy down there, he's really not doing anything but being a cheerleader. But involve him. Involve the whole team. Don't just work with a segment. It's got to be all of your players. Find a way to involve that guy that's down at the end. Otherwise, you can't have a team with just 7 or 8 of the 12 players. You're going to have all 12 players. So take the time to work with that guy. Here's a good little tidbit. I learned this a long time ago, and it still sticks with me. Say to yourself, if everybody on this team was as helpful to our team as I am, what would the team look like? Because when you start looking at yourself, you say, I'm not very good at that. Well, what if the whole team was like that? So it starts with you. You know, it starts with that 10th man, the 5th man, or the top man. Now, look at yourself. Am I doing what we should do as a team to win games? How do I compare with the rest? What if everybody was like me? We wouldn't have much of a team, would we? Tell your players to repeat that to themselves every once in a while. Check themselves on how good a team player they are. There's something else. Defense. Don't just talk about team play on offense, which most of you do and will. But just remember this. You get the ball, but they get the ball the same amount of time. You're going to play defense as much as you play offense. Defense is a wonderful place to teach concepts of team play. I have a little drill I run. It's called 2-on-2. I use that drill to show how playing as a team between two players can really make a difference in their success. I show the guy on the ball. I said, the guy has a ball. He can go one-on-one, and then there's a guy cutting into the post up. And then they can do anything they want. But I show that guy that's on the ball that instead of just standing there, be aggressive with your hands, because the guy cutting in has got a tough job defending that and the post up that follows, but you can help him. If the guy can't make a direct pass, that guy cutting, defending the cutter, has got a much better chance of defending against him. You can come up with all kinds of things like that on defense. Now you're really talking to them about being a team. The last thing, and I'm going to mention to you, is this: discipline. I didn't put it first. I put it last because I would rather approach it the other way. But in the end, you have to discipline your players. You have to talk to players about taking bad shots. You have to talk to players individually or as a team constantly. You have to insist on it. And if they don't do it, then there must be some consequence for not doing what you want them to do. What that is, I can't tell you. I know what I do, but I don't know if you could do the same thing. So don't forget that you are going to have to talk and discipline players to get to be a team play. There's no other way around it. If you forego that, the other four will weaken. They got to have a man or a woman, that's their head guy, head person, that they know is going to insist that they do it. That he's not going to allow it, or you're not going to play. That's what, in the end, that's what it's got to be. I don't like it that way. I wish everything could take place in those first four, because they're a lot more friendly. But there comes a time you cannot excuse yourself for not doing what you need to do to have that team play as a team. Leave you with this. Do you want to have team play? How bad do you want that? That will tell the tale of your team. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time, probably 2 or 3 days.